Hello, my name is Gideon, and I want to tell you the story of Mariamu as told by her sister Yagma. Yagma wrote, I grew up a disciplined and obedient girl, unlike my sister who was somewhat rough and carefree. When she was 18, she fell in love with a young man. Dating is utterly forbidden in our community, and marriages are arranged, and often young people meet on their wedding day. But my sister was rebellious. She dated that young man. Every night she would go to see him. They even kissed, and actually their relationship went too far. She got pregnant. I remember their young faces. I didn't understand the whole situation. I was a little girl. But when I looked at them, I could see they were happy. Their happiness made me happy too, and I wanted to smile. Instead of eloping, they decided to speak to my father. Pregnancy is a very good reason to get permission for marriage, so they thought. But my sister had miscalculated my father's love for her. Upon receiving the news, my father became furious. Instead of letting the two young lovers marry and build their nest of love, he took her to the religious elders and they ruled out that she had committed adultery. She was sentenced to death by stoning. There was no mercy even for her unborn child. She had stained the honor of the family, and the only way to remove that stain was to put her to death. Her unborn baby was a stain too, and that little creature had to be destroyed as well, so that my family could live honorably. In the evening before our execution, she came to my room and told me that she would miss me. She was crying and hugged me to her bosom. Then she smiled and said that soon she would see her unborn baby. I was blissfully unaware of what was going on, but I felt that something was going badly. In the evening before her execution, she came to my room and told me that she would miss me. She was crying and hugged me to her bosom. Then she smiled and said that soon she would be with her unborn baby. I was blissfully unaware of what was happening, but I felt that something bad was about to happen. I got scared. I still remember her black eyes. She stared at the sky as if she was saying, Lord, I'm coming home. She was wrapped in white sheets and her hands were tied to her body. She was buried to her waist. Then the village mob circled her with stones in their hands and started throwing them at her. These were people she knew very well. Most of them were relatives. My sister pleaded for mercy from the people, but none listened, not even my father. He stood unmoved by the cries of my sister. Her pain could not move her. With pain, as stones hit her head, she cried. Blood gushed out from her. Her face, her cheeks, mouth, nose, and eyes. All she could do was to bend to the left and to the right. Gradually, the movement slowed down, and finally, she stopped moving. Even though the shower of stones did not stop, her head fell on her chest. Someone approached with a big rock in her hand and smashed the skull of my sister to finish her off. But there was no need for that. She was already dead. Her bright black eyes that beamed with life were shut. Her jovial laughter that filled the world around her was silenced. A heart that beat with such a heavenly love for only a short time had stopped. Our unborn baby was not given a chance to breathe even one time. These two young lives are to be destroyed so that my father could keep his reputation and honor. My sister was stoned when I was a young girl. Now I am a mother of 5, yet I still struggle with a number of questions. Was my father's honor more valuable than the life of 2 human beings? Did God really enjoy scenes at my sister's stoning? Did God smile as the last rock smashed my sister's head? If he did, does he really qualify to be the merciful one, the loving one, the gracious one, and the forgiving one? Does God treasure the life he created? And if so, are we to take other people's life at will? Thanks. This is Yagma. Friends, this story of Mariam as told by our sister Yagma is heartbreaking. Surely the true God, my Creator, must be loving, merciful, and therefore ready to forgive sinners like me and like you and like Yagma. God does not demand that we become better to earn His love. On the contrary, God first showed His love for sinners by giving His Son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross that we may be forgiven. And may this God, the same God who created me and who loved me, give me the same love and mercy for my neighbors. Amen.